What's going on, fellow humans and resellers? It is I, James, and Courtney. RedoptionAgency.com, 22 years selling full-time on eBay. And today we're going to talk about the failing bins stories that are out there. And, there's a lot going on with that concept of the bins with the pallets. And I've been following a lot of them since day one on like Facebook and social media and stuff, because it kind of intrigued me. You know, indie business at all really kind of intrigues me on how it runs and how successful it'll be, and then seeing the flaws and the positives and what you might be able to pull from it to include into your business. And also what is going on with the bins that might play into the eBay situation. So, but first, we're going to play What the Hell is Wrong with eBay Today? I think that's going to be a new segment every day. What the hell is wrong with eBay today? So, and of course, we can add a long list to that every day, but we're just going to pick one subject that seems to be the predominant issue at the moment. And today, yesterday and the last couple of days, it's been particularly one thing, and actually probably longer than that, but what is the most important thing for an online business? The most important part of an online business? No, it's not the checkout, even though that's important and it has issues. It's the search engine. If nobody can find your items, nobody's going to buy your items. Not only that, the customer's going to go elsewhere to look for the item. So, as of yesterday, there were people complaining about, say you got a 1977 bitchin' Camaro and you want to get a headlight, and you go onto eBay to type headlight 1977 bitchin' Camaro minus the bitching part. You hit enter into eBay Motors and you get clothing. So now the eBay Motors search engine is just as messed up as the rest of eBay's search engine. Yes, there was people complaining about other stuff other than car parts coming up when they're searching for car parts. That is a prime example of what's going on and what I'm sure all of us have experienced. If we've searched 5 to 10 items plus a day on eBay, we've seen it personally. The huge mess that the search is bringing up irrelevant things that have nothing to do with what we're looking for. And that issue that's going on seems, probably in my opinion, the biggest issue as of right now. I haven't got a server failure or a system error in quite a while. I would get one every once in a while when uploading items, but I haven't seen an actual server error saying it's a server error in over 2 weeks, I would believe. And so I think the main problem now is what they're trying to do, this search engine. Well, who knows? I don't know what they're trying to do. I think what they're trying to do is be smarter than the consumer. And when all they need to do is go back to basics, because it's just a total shit show, for lack of a better term. From things of showing mostly or all international items when you search for something, to you type in, say, Tom Petty's greatest hits, and you have to file through 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 listings of other artists' greatest hits before you even see a Tom Petty greatest hits, to just searching eBay Motors for a car part and you get clothing. So whatever they're trying to do on the search engine has been a complete failure, and I believe is what is causing a huge amount of the issues, at least probably since the last few months, if not a little bit more. But it seems to be getting progressively worse, And I've said that one too many times, that eBay, whatever they're doing, is just getting worse, literally on a week-to-week and day-to-day basis. And there seems to be no end. Yesterday, when I found out about the clothing coming up on eBay Motors, I went to the boards and started looking, and there are more threads than ever about complaints about the search engine and searching for stuff and things being irrelevant. And yeah, so that probably contributed to my poor day yesterday. I'm going to check the numbers, but as of about 9 p.m. last night, I was headed to a new all-time low. Not just not money-wise, but number of items-wise. Up until 9 p.m., I only had 21 items sold. 52,000 items, 21 items sold. And I'd like to believe that the people who always were saying, oh, it's the items you sell, are eating crow right now. Is because most of us know that it has nothing to do with the items being sold. Because when the things seem to be spot on, I can sell 75 items a day still. That happened a couple of weeks ago. So there are still like beams of hope here and there for the website. But for the most part, it's just leaves you scratching your head, wondering what's going on. So yesterday, Tuesday, only made it to $422 after a $752 day the day before. And then before that was a $381 day after three, $650 to $700 days. So as of now, this morning, we are at $925 with $92. And about 40 of that is one item. So that just sold. So I was at 21 items yesterday, made up to 27. 7 organic, 20 promoted. So only 20 promoted, which is close to a new record low. I had 17 once, 18 once, 19. So yeah, what they're doing, I have no idea, and I got a feeling they don't even know what the hell they're doing anymore. Honestly, I believe they had a goal, and it's just backfiring like crazy. I am getting more and more excited to see the next quarter earnings. I really am. Especially with the fact that we literally have been on a downward trajectory ever since the last earnings came out. Literally every day and every week, it's been getting worse and worse. And I want to know, those numbers will tell if it's just a smaller sellers or is their bigger plan working. And I'm not talking about the promoted increase because I think that's going to be down also. I'm talking about their overall numbers. And they're probably going to try to blame it on consumers, but it's way beyond consumers at this point. And here's where I'm going to segue into the bins part of the story, and then we'll do shipping at the same time as the bin story, but to knock it all out. But the first thing you need to do in a business is to grab the customer. If you can't keep that first customer as a repeat customer, that should be your focus, to keep your customers, to keep them wanting to come back for more. And when they try to search for something and they can't find it, they go elsewhere and then maybe become a full-time consumer wherever they found it, as opposed to where they didn't find it or just came up with a jumbled mess and gave up. Because as eBay sometimes seems to be going, where other times they're not, is quick consumer purchases. you know, with the, they've kind of said before, the attention span, click, gone, out type of thing. And you can't have somebody swiping through 50 items that's not even related to what they want, just to find an item they want. You can't do that. You've got to keep them intrigued, wanting to come back to the days when people used to scroll 2 and 3 pages of eBay because what they typed in, they were getting so much awesome stuff in return to look through, to shop for, where now you type it in and who knows what you're getting, you know, things that have nothing to do with your search. So yeah, it's beyond. I think we're in a dire situation now. We're in an emergency case where you have to do something else other than eBay. I've been at the point now for a little bit now that if somebody said, hey, I want to start selling on eBay, what would you recommend? I would recommend, well, first off, what are you selling? Because if you're selling clothes, go straight to Posh. Don't even worry about eBay. And before, I would never have said anything like that. As I am speaking of Posh, I think yesterday was first day this month of no sales. But that being said, if my numbers stay for the way they were for the past month and a half, I would only need to cross-list 24,000 of my 52,000 items to make the same amount of money I'm making on eBay right now. And that's pretty sad. And many of you have expressed it too, that you're making more money per day or on days here and there on Mercari and or Poshmark or both more than you are on eBay nowadays. And that was something that was unthinkable 5 years ago. Unthinkable in the existence of eBay up until a couple years ago. So I'm going to segue now into the bin store, because I think one of the biggest problems with the bin store, and of course I'm using this topic is inspired by what Lindy is going through with her bin store. What keeps, the first thing you need to do with any business, but especially a place like a bin store, is you need to grab that customer. You need to excite that customer so they come back. And that's the thing with eBay. Like, if we can't do our job to try to get the customer back to our store so they become our repeat buyer because they can't even get to us, that's a problem. Pull these internationals out of here. But here's the thing with pallet bin stores. From what I originally thought to what I've seen and what I've seen other businesses do and how have come along over the years. First up, though, we got this Miller Lite fanny pack that sold. That sold for $10.50, headed to Georgia. So, like I said, I've watched plenty of bin stores from beginning to now. And the ones that succeeded the best were the ones that kept their customers excited. How do you do that with a bin store? Well, here's where I think, and I said this in a previous video, where I think Lindy made her mistake, and I see other bin stores making the same mistake, is they're cherry picking the good stuff so they can try to get top dollar for it, and they're putting just all the okay and junk out, hoping that will sustain a long-term business model. But if you're not doing anything to get your customer excited, they're not going to come back. There's a few reasons why people go to the bin store. Curiosity. And you definitely want to grab them if they're just going there because they're curious, because they may not have ever had intentions of actually going back. They just want to see what's going on. But if you do something that makes them want to come back, like somebody just found an iPhone in the bin, somebody just found a drone in the bin, that's going to excite not just the person who found it, it's going to excite the whole room. That's why on the successful bins, even if you cross over into the thrift store bins, the ones that have long lines, it's because they're not 100%, they're cherry-picked a little, yes, but they're not 100% cherry-picked. You can still go in and find treasure, make money, and even create a business around it. With an Amazon pallet store, you cannot go in and create a business around it. You can barely sustain a business if you are the pallet store. Next up, we got Christmas for Children CD. Sold for $4, headed to Ohio. I've seen a lot of bin stores. Seemed like there was the original, and of course, whenever there's the originals that are doing it and seem to be doing it well, they're exciting people. They excite people so much that there's another round of people that go, I can do that. Let me open a bin store. That seems easy, without knowing or paying attention to any of the details of what the first round of bin stores may be doing right or doing wrong. So I've seen them go from, there's one in North Carolina, I believe it was. That was, when I saw they were doing everything right. They were taking videos, taking pictures, uploading videos of their customers finding iPhones, finding high dollar items, stereo systems, speakers, all kinds of stuff. Then they would also, like if they got the big TVs in, they would do a drawing that day for like one of the big TVs to give other people a chance to win something or have something great. They didn't cherry pick. Now, I don't know if the volume they were doing, so they may have cherry picked some, but they didn't cherry pick to the detriment of their business model. Got Go-Go CD, sold for $5, headed to Raleigh, North Carolina. So I saw them doing it right, and they always had a line. They always had people waiting every day to get into their store. And then I saw some open up. And then I would see them post the higher dollar items separate, kind of like Lindy was doing. Putting it separate, selling it separately, whether they're individually pricing in the store, putting it up on Facebook Marketplace, putting it up on eBay, whatever the case may be. They were cherry picking their supply. Now, my original thought was that's not a smart move, because my little bit of experience with pallets, I know that you can get lucky on one, and then you're all gung-ho and you buy 3 more, and those are all 3 a total failure. And by failure, I mean you lost money, you broke even, or you barely made a profit. That's a failure to me. Getting a good one means you've doubled your money, if you will. And to sustain a business model with that much overhead, like outside of your own place, in a storefront, you need everyone to hit. And then when you cherry pick the good stuff, you basically just become a junk store. You're not a bin store. You're a junk store. And junk stores don't last. There's no way, I'm sure there's a business model to sustain a junk store, but you got to have low overhead, low payroll. I mean, you've got to, and you've got to change it up. I feel to do something like that, you can't just do it off of Ben's pallet stuff. You need to be getting Gaylords from thrift stores around the country delivered to you, throwing it up, changing it up, putting some used toys out there, whatever the case. I think there's a business model there, but the way most people doing it, they depend on these pallets that at best is a 50-50 chance. You can't run a business on a 50-50 chance. It's just not sustainable for the long term. We've got a 45 record, Bill Doggett. Sold for $4, headed to Ohio. So the one in North Carolina, I saw them doing what seemed to be right, and it went on for months, for over a year, probably over 2 years now. Then I would see all these other ones starting to pop up. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to check them out. And I kind of watch what they're doing, and they're pulling the expensive stuff out, putting it up on Facebook Marketplace. I'm like, oh, you're signing your death certificate right there. You're taking out that good stuff and putting it up individually. And sure enough, not even a year later, they're closed. They're out of business. Let me get a mailer for this. The main thing about a business, the first thing is you got to get them in the door. Then after you get them in the door, you got to keep them in the door. If you're not exciting your customers, make them want to stay or want to come back, you're losing a customer. You're losing revenue, and you're eventually going to die a slow, painful death. Kind of like my videos were doing. My videos are dying a slow, painful death because I'm getting too caught up into things that might be boring people or not keeping their attention, right? Same thing with everything in life. If you're not keeping somebody's attention with a video, with the topic you're talking about, or with the information you're presenting, or the entertainment value, you're losing and you're going down, you're sinking. So I can relate to that kind of to where I feel my videos are headed. Hence why I'm kind of changing it up today's style a little bit, hoping that an actual subject, a topic, will keep more people intrigued for longer, keeping you held on so I make more money off this video. Same is true with business. So if you're pulling out all the good stuff and you're only putting in the junk, here as a reseller, anytime I hear the word bins or pallets, I cringe because I know it's an ugly world. And what Lindy stated about the prices have doubled, but the items count basically has dropped. Well, then your chances of 50-50 went down to 75-25, and you put more money out. So that maybe even push it more like an 80-20 split. 80 chance you're going to fail, and 20% you might get something good. And I think, as she stated, other bin stores started opening up around her, and that's that next phase. That next phase that's going to start putting people out of business. That next phase that's going to close just about everything across the board because it's become so thinned out and so saturated that it breaks. And that's kind of like where eBay is right now. but they're doing it to themselves also by not having a proper working website. And more people are getting better results on Mercari and Poshmark than they are on eBay for the first time in history. So even the ones who were doing it right were having a hard time surviving. Like the one in, I wish I could remember the one in North Carolina, because I haven't seen them post in quite a while now. Let me see if I can find it. I think it was North Carolina. But that's a different one. Here's one called Mary's Liquidation. I don't know who these are, but they are putting out the higher dollar stuff. There's a, tools, remote control cars, fridge, little mini fridge. They're putting out all the big higher dollar stuff in their bins. And that's what you got to do to keep people excited. Nobody's going to keep coming back for, a bin full of healthcare products for $1 a piece. You can't sustain on something like that. Sorry, none of this is scripted, so I'm just trying to see what I covered and make a valid points if I can. Next up, we've got Jeff Bates DVD, One Day Closer. Sold for $7, headed to Mount Pleasant, Tennessee. This was another one of my Hastings buyout. Yeah, so when I saw her starting to do pulling the good stuff out and selling it separate, unfortunately, I knew the writing was on the wall, what was going to happen, because I've seen it before. Is there a way out? Like if she's in a situation, she's got less than a year on her lease, is there a way out? I say yes, but you got to change what you're doing. If you already know you're going to lose for the next, let's just call it 9 months, I don't know how long left, start taking it on the chin. Stop pulling out the good stuff. Put in the good stuff. Put up a sign that says, that kind of promotes that. See if you can pull some of these people back in. Check out what your competition's doing if they're not too far away, you say. Check out what they're doing exactly and try to get those customers back. I think a lot of when you... I understand the mentality. You're a reseller. Reseller's mentality is get what you can out of the item. But if you're trying to run a business on a different model, but you don't realize it has to be a different model, you're going to fail. Basically, a reseller is trying to run a bins business instead of a business person trying to run a bins business. The business person is going to understand that you got to get these people back in the door. So you've got to Best Buy used to call it lost leaders. You sell things underpriced to get the people in the door, to get them excited, to get them coming back for more. The same with the bin store. You have to use your high dollar items as the loss leaders to get the people in the door, because once you got them in, then they're going to pick up this and that and this and that, along with, oh, I found a nice high dollar item, or Mary across the way, she found a nice high dollar item. That excites me. Yay. I'm going to go ahead and grab this while I'm here, and I'm coming back tomorrow just in case I'm in that spot and I get that item. You have to create that atmosphere. When I worked in the music store and Blockbuster took over the music stores, they came in with that same mentality, building an atmosphere. There's plenty of places to get your music out there. This was before the internet. You've got to create an atmosphere to make the people excited to get, you got to play the right music. If you own a business, you've got to stimulate all the senses of the people. And Blockbuster was one of the companies that thought that way when it came to the music side of it. They, built all these like pod type areas in different areas of the store. Over here, you got a movie playing. Over here, you can test some video games. Over in the rock section, you can hear rock music playing. You hear music throughout the whole store if you're wherever. If you're over here in the jazz section, you hear jazz music playing. So no matter where you went, if you went in the classical room, you heard classical music playing. You had TVs that were showing different. If in the classical room, you'd had, sometimes you'd have some classical symphony on the TV with the music playing. Everything was a stimulation to get you excited and make you want to come back. That's what most businesses fail with these days, is stimulating the customer, making it an event. Nowadays, more people concentrate on pissing customers off by getting their orders wrong or whatever the case may be, instead of concentrating on what will make them successful. We got Vincent Varvel CD, Christmas CD. Actually, speaking of music store I worked at, he worked at the music stores with me where I worked for most of the time. He's a guitarist. He's taught at Wash U. He played in a band with Peter Mayer. Peter Mayer used to be the guitarist for Jimmy Buffett. Vince was a good guy. He just put a new album out. This is headed Washington, Washington, and sold for $7. But like if I knew I had 9 months left, I would definitely not do the same thing. Cherry pick. Well, it depends. I would do one thing, not cherry pick and try to build the excitement back to get the customers back. Or I would just start putting every damn thing online, as opposed to not just the cherry stuff. If you got the inventory sitting there, use it as the foundation. I talk a lot about foundation material to build a business on, and I've got plenty of it. Hats, CDs, 8-tracks. That's my foundation. If you have all this bin stuff and a lot of lower dollar items, start building an online store, whether that's with eBay or Poshmark, or even Whatnot for that matter. Start building a business instead of trying to be a reseller. Trying to be a reseller failed in that situation. Trying to be a reseller today, even on eBay and stuff, is a hell of a lot harder because of all the issues. What's saving me is because I got a business, I feel, because I've got the volume, I've got the bread and butter times 10, I've got the foundation material, and that's what's saving me on a day-to-day basis. $7 CD, $5 CD. So I think you have to take one or two of those directions. Either way, you're going to be taking it on the chin, I think, for the rest of the time. So it's, how do you want to do it? Do you want to go out guns blazing, or do you want to start setting up for tomorrow? So if you want to go out guns and blazing, put everything out, try to get that customer base back, and who knows? Maybe they come back in droves, and guess what? You're signing the next lease and continuing on. I doubt it from the sound of what the company's doing, the holding company or whatever it's called. So I would start focusing on building a business online with an eBay and Posh. Definitely have to do more than one. Use like a Vendu and start building a foundation that you can build off of. I think that's what I would do if I was in that situation. I had all that material like I do. I would just start building a foundation for tomorrow in hopes of digging yourself out of debt. Because you don't, like she said, she don't want to do bankruptcy because she signed something where she'll lose her house. I was $120,000 in debt at one time. And I unburied myself with building a foundation and building a business with a lot of breadish butter type of items. So it can be done, but you got to have that will and that drive to do it. And you've got to be smart about it. Depending on what I might even try, like if I wanted to go that direction, I might even try working a deal out with the landlord at a buyout price just to get out now. And then you have all your material to start building your foundation on. If you got to pay X amount for 9 more months, see if they'll take half of it just to get out now so they can rent the building to somebody else. That would depend on the need for space around that area, though, because if there's no need for space, that they won't bite on that. They'll be like, nope, you stay there and pay us all of it. If there's somebody who's wanting to get in there, yeah, we'll take that, and then boom, they got another renter in there. You got to start thinking differently. And it's a hard thing to do. Next up, we got a Green Bay Packers hat. Sold for $8, headed to Nashville. No matter the direction, you have to change the direction. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And if you already know what you're going to do, start preparing for that today. Like, I would be going in that store, let the people come in, buy what they want, and I'd be taking pictures all day, setting up my eBay stores, what I would be doing, putting it in a box. Box 1, $5 on eBay, $5 on eBay, $5 on eBay, $5 on eBay, cross it to Posh. That's what I would be doing. I would start building the foundation to pay off the debt. And there would be no better time to do it than right now. Also, it would put her in a different headspace. Because just like me with eBay, once I started cross-posting onto Posh, it put me in a different headspace because I got something to push toward now. I got something that's driving, that's going to change things from the way they were. Billy. And that's the biggest thing to mentally to do. The most, you get the most bang for your buck, if you will, mentally, by picking a direction and starting that direction. Let's march along, vinyl. So for $4, headed to Rochester, New York. See, if I didn't have this bread and butter, my foundation stuff up, how many items would I be shipping today? Probably a fourth of what I actually am. So then we have to, how does learning from that kind of stuff cross over into eBay, into your business? Next up, we've got Southern Boone County Eagles hat. Sold for $8, headed to Hartsburg, Missouri. Well, I think the main thing, how it crosses over, is in the insanity rule. Keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I was expecting eBay to change, to get it together, to fix their situations. And they didn't. So I started cross-listing, doing something different. And thankfully I did, because eBay, like I said, seems to get worse every day. I won't go that. I'll say every week. Week-to-week basis, we're getting worse. Because here's the thing, depending on how much stock she has, if she went the route of start building her store, or an eBay or her online store, she may not have to invest any more money into pallets. Just take the rent on the chin for the next however many months without adding to it. I would have to know the inside to make that call, knowing daily sold numbers and daily, the costs and stuff like that. So I couldn't make that decision without knowing that stuff, but I'm just throwing out different scenarios that would depend on stuff I know nothing about, details I know nothing about. Mega Music Mix Disney Channel. Sold for $5, headed to Boston. So, I don't remember the last time I've seen a feed from a bin store on my Facebook like I used to. So that kind of tells me even the ones who are doing it right are having a hard time now. Either they're having a hard time now and they're not posting anymore, or they're better than they ever were and they don't have time to post anymore, which I doubt that, because that was part of their business model, was promoting the excitement of their store. It's tough. I mean, I feel for her and what she's headed toward when it comes to carrying that kind of debt on your back. Hello Kitty Cafe pen sold for $14, headed to Hawaii. Because if you don't have a direction and believe in your direction, it's going to be the worst time of your life. But if you find that direction now, start working toward it, give you something to believe in every day, to make you want to get up, that's what you must do. Because without that spark, it's just going to take you down. And I'll tell you this. If you don't have a strong partner, it will tear your marriage apart. Guaranteed. Money is debt, failure, things like that. That's no joke when it comes to that kind of stuff. And here's a little piece of advice. I doubt she'll watch this video, but a little piece of advice. We got Brent Favre. Jersey sold for $13, headed to New York. A little piece of advice from someone who had a bunch of debt on their shoulders. It will create tension just out of the blue that you don't even know it's there. Whether that's from you toward your partner because you're stressed out, so you may just say something with just a different tone, in a different manner, and what have you. Secondly, if you're that way all the time, it really starts affecting the other person. Really starts to question, what the hell are they doing? You know, they're feeling like they're doing things wrong or something too. And it can drive a wedge. What was that? I saw it on the camera. I guess it was a little piece of lint. It will drive a, oh, there's a little gnat. It will drive a wedge. It's gonna be a tough road all the way around. So what the hell, gnat? Where'd you come from? You must find a direction and start working toward it immediately. And I'll put this out there. If anybody wants to direct her to this video or whatever, she can reach out to me at any time with any questions or concerns or anything. I was there. I was there with $120,000 debt on my back. questioning everything about my existence. Feeling like, get out of here, Nat. Feeling like a total failure. Wondering if what I was doing was correct, the direction I was headed. I was confident in where I wanted to go, but the stress and the friction it caused between Jan and I was unbelievable. And I'm still surprised we made it through it. And I think that's why today, with eBay having all these issues, I at times just feel like a total freaking loser, because what happened to me selling 75, 100 items a day? I didn't change a damn thing. The times haven't changed enough that drastically overnight. But I still question, what the hell am I doing? I suck. But that has kind of since gone away, being that I can focus my energies toward other things now that could potentially bring it all up together. Next up, the last for the U.S. Shipped stuff, we had a local pub here called Growlers Pub. They had like hundreds of different draft beers and stuff on tap. I used to go there for their quesadillas, but they closed a long time ago. I found that at a thrift store. So that sold for $38, headed out to High Ridge, Missouri. But it's not going to be a pretty thing. Every little thing will feel like you're doing it with 100 pounds on your back. Everything from just talking to your kids, having to pick your kids up, to going to the store to buy groceries. You'll feel like that you have to do it 10 times quicker. You're doing it with 100 pounds on your back, and you should be doing something other than what you're doing. And then that turns, at least this is with what happened with me, then that turned into frustration, turned into the way I presented myself, when that turned into friction, and that turned into situations, and it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. Put some padding around this a little at least. But I feel the pain, I really do, because watching her talk, I felt the emotion in her eyes. And you want to close up, you want to shut down, because you don't have time for anything except trying to dig yourself out. But with that headspace brings a whole other table of problems. I don't know what more I can say on the subject, really, without repeating myself. Funds confirming pay. Like with the eBay situation now, I went ahead and cut my payroll in half this month, just so I can make sure I stay ahead. Thankfully, the business has been good enough for long enough that we have a nice padding personally, that I don't have to worry about it. and only plan on doing it for a couple of months. So just to make sure everything stays golden till we get into the fourth quarter, and hopefully something will change there in a positive way. But I don't know the way eBay's headed. Don't feel like there's ever going to be a way out. At least not on eBay alone, anyway. That's why with my situation, I could have went one or two different, well, probably more than that, but I could either turn it into a lot business and try that route, or just start cross-listing, you know. So I think last month, I wish I could go back and look on Posh. I think I did like almost $1,000 the first month, so, which was good for my slow items. I'm just glad there's a better response to my slow items on Posh than what I expected. Then also the other change was concentrating, even though they're not really selling right now, higher dollar items. For some reason, they've kind of taken a back seat the last several days. And that could be part into with the economy. We have fourth quarter coming up. People could be saving for holiday spending on top of already being stretched. Many different scenarios. A perfect storm, like I like to call it. Well, speaking of that, Friday I'll be on the Let's Do Lunch podcast. Was originally going to be a live yesterday, but they changed it, and we just did a video, and it's coming out Friday. So I will be over there Friday. Why is this here? Did I miss something? Oh, it's international. Okay, that makes sense. I guess the scan form didn't print up again last night. Dun, 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 dun. Let me see where I'm at before I start these international orders. We're at 1017. I'm at 112, 113. So a little bounce back for being shut down overnight. Yeah, overnight was shut down 10 hours, 2 items. I don't even know if I said that at the beginning. 10 hours, only 2 items sold. And that's all that came through. It's pretty bad. Pretty bad. All right. At least I got some more, international items, so that's good. Guess that just sold. Okay, first up we got Enjoy Chumley, gold and silver pawn shop Chumley hat. Sold for $10.50, headed to Canada. So I opened another YouTube channel yesterday. I was going to keep it secret for a while, but since if you're late in this video, you're one of my hardcore people, so I'm going to let you know what it is. It's called the Hat Channel, and it'll be videos of me just going through hats. I feel those kind of videos kind of get suppressed on this channel, and then kind of brings down my daily videos. So I figure if I try them on a separate channel, see if I can grow a hat community. If not, then I'll bring them back here. Won't know until you try, though. So the Hat Channel, and you'll know it's me because you'll see the banner. But but thankfully right now, I still don't have to stress. And I'm so thankful for that. The fact that everything's been so good for so long that for the first time in my life, I have padding that I don't have to worry about things. I've never had that before in my life. It was always like a paycheck to pay, even all the years running the business, because we'd always buy the nicest cars and have fun with them and go on trips, and it was still always felt like a week-to-week living. So to be able to cut my payroll in half for a couple months just to make sure we don't fall behind in anything, that's a security I've never had, and it's pretty cool. I'm trying to keep it looking at it that way instead of looking at it as, Dad, you had to cut your payroll back. Now you're not going to make, $80,000 this year. Yeah, maybe I'll only make 60. Still a damn good living selling this stuff. So, gotta look at it like that. Alright, I'm just gonna go through these because it sounds like she turned on the water for the pool because we got a slow leak and I gotta find that leak today. So let me go through here so that water's running in the background. So I'll just show you what I got left and then I'll pack it up off camera. We've got a Universal Studios hat. It's sold for £9.50 British pounds. Got a London Olympics hat that sold for $9 British pounds. We got this little pen. It could be worse. I could be you. Sold for $6.30. And we got the Greg Norman hat sold for $6.40 British pounds. So, all right. I think that's it. So, thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Later.